We welcome everyone joining us for another Stingers Up Sacramento State football podcast. I'm Jason Ross. As it's homecoming week this week for the Sacramento State Hornets, Saturday night, 6 o'clock, they will host Weber State. This week's episode, we will look back at last week's disappointing loss to Eastern Washington. We also will have a preview against Weber State, the game on Saturday, and conversation with senior offensive lineman and son of coach Chris Richardson. Kaden Richardson will join us during this week's Stingers Up podcast. But let's kind of go first to last week. What an opportunity Sacramento State had to get back on track, to get back to 500 in both their overall record and their league record. Coming off a bye, you're feeling pretty good about where the Hornets could be if they could win the game. They've been so good about bouncing back after losses in the last year or so. They've been so good at home. Some things were lining up for the Hornets going into this game, and they got the ball on the opening possession, went right down the field, and Jared Gibson would get the scoring started.
Two receivers left and two to the right. Todd Tyler in the backfield, dropping back from the shotgun is Conklin. Fires over the middle, pass caught for a touchdown. Jared Gibson. Third down conversion, and the Hornets are on the board first.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Now, kind of the theme of the first half was the Hornets would score and Eastern Washington would match. So each team would have one possession in the first quarter. Each team would score. So after one quarter, it's 7-7. And the Hornets were on possession number 2, on the march again, working their way downfield. And Coleman Kuntz and Carson Conklin would work and create something together.
Going with two tight ends again. Now working under center is Conklin. Fake the handoff, rolling right. Little confusion out there, and Conklin lets it go. And it's down for a touchdown. Carson Kuntz. Wow. Looked like that play was messed up, and the Hornets put it together for a Sacramento State touchdown. Wow.
Coleman Kuntz. You know, Dave, you put me to sleep on that play because I had my binoculars and I'm looking at Conklin rolling out, and you said in a little bit of disarray, and I since I had binoculars, I couldn't see Kuntz wide open in the end zone. He threw the ball. When he released it, I thought he was throwing it away. And then I scanned with the binoculars and go, there's an uncovered tight end in the back of the end zone.
It looked like it was live to play another down. Instead, it's a touchdown. Extra point try is good.
So now it's 14-7 Hornets. But like I said, in the first quarter, more of the same in the second quarter. Eastern would even it up and level it up at 14 apiece. We move on. The Hornets' third possession. Much like the first two, they have to work most of the field. They use all of the field, a big chunk of time, go down the field, and a beautiful score to go up 21-14.
Three receivers, right, one left. Dropping back Conklin. Here comes the blitz. Throw it to the far sideline. Back shoulder! Caught for a touchdown! Anderson Grover from 13 yards out.
Oh, Danny, you know I'm coming to you. He knows. Let's hear it, Danny.
You know it, guys. You know it. That was the play. That was for the first touchdown. They were trying to go for that throw. I'll let you get the extra point in.
Zach Schreiner off of the point after. Cal McGough, the holder. Snapback ball down. And the kick is good.
Our sideline reporter loves the back shoulder throw. I could see your smile from here, Danny.
It was there. It was the play, like I said. In the first half, they were trying to throw that same play, but it was opposite side of the field, same corner back shoulder throw. You got to love it. Great pass by Conklin, guys. You have to say this has been his best half so far this season. These guys are just connecting down the field. Great drive. Leave a minute left on the clock. We'll see what happens.
Well, as Danny said there, we'll see what happens. The Hornets actually would get the only stop of the first half. So at halftime, it's 21-14 Hornets. The Hornets had 3 possessions, went 75 yards on each possession. Nice, time-consuming, well-orchestrated drive, some clutch third downs. They were sharp. Defense, they couldn't get enough stops, but they got the one before the half. So 21-14, knowing that Eastern would get the ball first. Eastern, though, comes right out of the half, goes right down the field, and they would score to make it 21-21. And this next play, honestly, in my opinion, is where the game flipped.
On some kick try, they came up with one last week. It's loose at the 45-yard line.
I don't think it made it 10 yards.
They got it.
I don't think it went 10 yards. Eastern says they have it, but it didn't go 10 yards, did it?
They've got the football.
But it didn't go 10 yards. Look where the feet of the official is. Look where the feet are, and they're pointing at the ground. Kuntz is pointing at the ground. Official, look where you're standing.
At the 44.
I guess if the Hornets touched it and then lost it.
We'll take a peek at it again. We have the replay here. Little squib did it touch an Eastern player. They did a great job of staying away from it. It had gone 8 yards, 9, and there it got to the 10-yard mark.
And then it got knocked backward?
Yeah, and then got knocked back 2 yards. So it did travel the 10.
For the second straight week, Eastern Washington executes a successful onside kick. You could tell Coach Best knew his team at that time couldn't stop the Hornets, wanted to get ahead in the possession game, and so now they were getting another possession with the Hornets without them touching the ball. Well, they would score after the onside kick, and so for the first time on the night, the Hornets were down 28-21, so they were down 7. Eastern threatened a couple of times to at least once to go up 2 scores and really make it difficult for the Hornets. They had a 4th and short in Hornet territory, elected to kick a field goal, hit the upright, and kept it a 1-score game. Hornets continue to not do much in the second half. Even a fake punt called by Cal McGough got the Hornets an extra first down, but a penalty after that failed to get a first down. Hornets gave the ball back. So the Hornets now gave up one more score, and now we're in desperation time, trailing 35-21, so down 14. One more touchdown for Sacramento State.
For the 8-yard line, down 35-21, shutout in the second half. Todd Tolliver in the backfield, Conklin at quarterback, 3 receivers right, 1 left. Dropping back as Carson Conklin steps up, fire to the end zone, has a man out there, caught for a touchdown. Danny Scudero. They're still alive.
Wow, Scudero. That was a long throw all the way over on the far, far side of the field as we look at it, away from the Hornet bench and caught right at the edge by Scudero. And what a night Scudero has had. And now 1:53 to go. That was quick.
Get ready for the onside kick after this.
Hornets would go for the onside, couldn't execute it, and Eastern Washington would get the win. Huge for them. For the Hornets, a damaging loss as Sacramento State dropped their second straight game, even with the bye in between, dropped to 2-4 and dropped to 0-2 in league play. So tough situation there for the Hornets. They had their opportunities, but really the third quarter was the difference. That onside kick, the possession, time of possession, the number of plays run. I believe the total yards in the third quarter, 185-6. Hornets just didn't have the ball. Eastern did their part and got the win that they deserved. All right, so now let's look ahead to this week. What can we expect with Weber State? Well, Weber is a impressive team, too. Look, they have had a little bit of an odd season. I've always thought of Weber as a physical team, a solid defensive team, and a great special teams unit. And they kind of have more of the same this year. And they've rotated loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. That's how they've gone. They'll have their bye week next week. They are 3-4, but more importantly, they're 2-1 in league. So a win for them in Sacramento would be monumental. That would get them to 3-1. There's some favorable schedules remaining for Weber State. So it's a big game for Weber. And if you look at their win resume with their 3 wins, their best wins, well, they had a win non-league against Northwestern State, beat Portland State early in the year in a league game, and then a couple weeks ago beat Montana in overtime. So that game felt like it would carry Weber into some momentum. Last week, very disappointing home performance when they lost to Northern Colorado, and the difference, they had 5 turnovers. This team has not turned the ball over at all hardly this year, and it was totally out of character. And so you know it's going to be an angry team coming in for homecoming facing the Hornets. I hope the Hornets are angry as well. They're out of the top 25 for the first time since October of 2021. The run they've been on has been amazing. Doesn't mean this run has to end, but you also don't want another loss here soon because it just can also spiral things. So they don't have to worry about what's ahead. Can they get back in the top 25? Can they make it even to the playoffs? They've got to worry about this week and lock in to Weber State. So that's kind of the look at Weber State. Also wanted to finish up with more of a team feel and a team tone, and I think the perfect one to do that with is senior offensive lineman Kaden Richardson, who is the son of his father, his coach, Offensive line coach Chris Richardson, his brother Cooper played for the team. The family has connections to Sacramento State. And it was a fun conversation to learn a little bit more about Kaden, his time at Sacramento State, how it started at UC Davis, his time at Folsom, and where he wants to take his ultimate career after football. Let's hear that conversation with Kaden Richardson. Okay, here with senior offensive lineman Kaden Richardson. Kaden, I want to start there, senior. I mean, it goes fast, doesn't it? I know you started your journey at Davis. Now you're here at Sac State. How quickly has your college career kind of flown by?
Yeah, it definitely goes quick. I mean, it feels like just a year ago or whatever, I was coming out of high school, not sure what was going to happen going to Davis, and then next thing you know, I transfer, and now all of a sudden it's my last 6 games ever playing football. So trying to just enjoy the moment, make the most of it. Been really trying to be mindful of this last year. I do plan on going into coaching after, but last season as a player, so it is a pretty big chapter of my life coming to an end. So yeah.
Well, let's backtrack. Let's go. You're playing high school. You're winning. Just winning a ton of games at Folsom. You guys are at just an incredible track record. What made you decide at that time to go to Davis?
Really, the going to Davis was just about going to be with my brother. In high school, he was a senior when I was a freshman, so we never really crossed paths and never got to play together. But going to Davis gave me that opportunity. And I already was friends with all of his friends at Davis, and so it just felt right. But yeah, going to play with my brother and being able to be around him and follow his steps was a big thing for me. So it made an easy transition. And we actually ended up, I was hurt my freshman year at Davis, so we never played together until he actually transferred over here. And then we actually did get to play in a game together where I was his center and he was my tackle. So yeah.
So then the transition to come here, it's you guys aren't the first to play at both places, but it is unique. It's a rival. What's kind of been the compare and contrast from being at Davis to Sacramento State?
I can't speak too much about it. My first year, I was injured, and they actually took me off the team initially. So my experience at Davis is maybe a little different than others. So I was very limited in what I could do, and I was actually a filmer for my first year at Davis, helping film, which was not ideal, but I was those were the cards I was given. And then COVID hit actually right after my first winter ball back. Davis does winter ball, not spring ball. So after my first winter ball, COVID hit. So I didn't necessarily get the full experience, and I never truly got like a game day experience or anything like that until I transferred over here. So I'm not too well versed with the Davis stuff because again I literally was not on the roster. I was actually deemed as a student assistant for my whole first year, which definitely I think played into my decision to transfer as well. Yeah. It was not an ideal situation, and so yeah.
All right, so you get here though, and you've done a ton of winning, as I mentioned at Folsom. You get here, and the program starts to just take off. Mm-hmm. What is your experience? What are some of the memories you're going to take with you when you are coaching down the line and thinking about your Hornet career? What are some of the highlights you'll have?
Yeah, I think just coming in and being in a unique situation for me and my dad. I was not playing for my first 2 years here. When we won both the Big Sky Championships, my role was a special teams guy. I attacked that role, but being able to, I was really like my dad's assistant on the sideline, and it was like being a GA during the game and helping him with where the blitzes are coming from, and so being able to do all that was I think good for my coaching career. Just because I was being a player and a coach really at the same time. I'd go do my special teams, and then I'd come off, hop on the whiteboard with the O-lineman. And so, it's been good. Winning the Big Sky back-to-back is obviously I actually won state back-to-back my junior and senior year of high school, so then going back-to-back Big Sky was pretty cool for me, getting my 4th ring for that. And so, those Big Sky championship experiences definitely are ones that I'll remember. And just playing with my brother, too, getting to play with him for that it was his senior year, my redshirt freshman year. That was a cool experience as well.
So to know that you want to coach is pretty awesome that early, and you're playing and you're coaching, or kind of like another coach on the field. Mm-hmm. What is it about the coaching bug? Your brother's coaching now. Your dad obviously has been a great coach here and at Folsom and other places. What is it that drew you into to want to be a coach?
I think growing up with my dad being the head high school coach, seeing the amount of kids that he was able to affect their lives through the game of football was like really a big thing. I mean, having guys come from backgrounds of having single parents or not so good of a at-home life, and seeing the effects that a good coach can have that cares about his kids, it makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. And so seeing that, seeing the lifestyle of being active and having, being a coach for my dad was great for his kids. I mean, we had mentors all of our life of high school guys that were mentors, like guys like Kaden Richardson, who just showed us how to be. When I got in high school, I knew how to be, how to act, how to go to class. So it's good for that. And being active and really instilling values that you want in your kids, seeing hard work, being able to have a loss and bounce back from it. And so seeing all that from a young age has given me a different mindset for both my playing career and in the future my coaching career. I've had a lot of experiences that maybe not every other guy has had, of seeing what it's like, even just seeing what it's like being day to day of a coach, mm-hmm. right? Like having my dad sit on the couch at home watching film all day, like, and that all that stuff is just regular to me. Whereas some of these guys, it's not so regular. So being a coach's kid and getting into coaching, I think has definitely paid off. I know my brother feels it's paid off, of understanding the lifestyle that it is, and it's really been the lifestyle we've lived our whole life.
So what's the dream as you vision this being a coach when you're looking down the line? What is it, high school, college, head coach, what position coach?
So my big dream is to coach in the NFL. And I think that's something that where maybe my brother and I differentiate. I think he's wanting to do more college football. I would like to get to the NFL, mm-hmm. Even if it's starting as just like an intern, a volunteer, whatever, and working up to, offensive line coach in the NFL. I mean, head coach, that's long-term goal. Mm-hmm. But I'd love to be coaching in the NFL. I've, been talking with my mentors and my coaches mm-hmm. and connections, and been trying to balance being in the moment in my senior year, enjoying the moment, playing, but also I have to prepare for life after football as well, and have my resume prepared, have my internships prepared, have my references prepared, be up to date with the different technologies for coaching, so that when the season ends, I'm prepared. But I'm also in the moment right now, so it's a balance for me right now.
So I'm thinking about growing up in the Richardson house, what that must have been like. You have a sister too, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so between your sister, your brother, your dad, and I've known your mom, what's it like being around your family of just so much football, so much coaching? What's kind of like, was it like growing up in the Richardson house?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of football. Uh-huh. My sister sometimes wants to just, how about no football today? And so we there's obviously a balance, but a lot of football, Saturday college football, Sunday NFL football. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty tough household, I'd say. I mean, my sister, she's a tough cookie. She, grew up playing knee football with us, and she's actually pretty. She likes to fight herself, and so, but yeah, pretty physical household, I'd say. Of me and my brother always playing some type of football. getting in fights in the front yard about basketball, me whooping on him one-on-one basketball and all that. But yeah, a lot of football definitely, and a lot of I think life lessons and stuff. With my mom as a therapist, she always finds a way to turn negatives into positives and finds ways to kind of shape experiences that we have. Every event in life holds value, and once you realize that, a lot of opportunity comes. So a lot of that going on.
Yeah, I'm thinking about your dad too. After being around him so many years, and he's got the booming voice. He's so loud. But we get to that banquet every year, and he gets so emotional talking about your mom, his wife, and just like he's the gentle giant. What's it been like, one, playing for him and kind of being a second hand for him, as you said, just over the years?
Yeah, I mean, he gets emotional every year. Yeah. For my family, it's nothing new, but I think for the players, a lot of times, for them it feels like dogs are purring and cats are barking, and it's new to see Coach Rich go from the yelling guy to the emotional guy, but he's actually been doing that for the last 20 years. Yeah. Every banquet he gets emotional, but it's been really cool playing for my dad, playing with my dad. I think it's been good for him. I definitely he definitely gets upset sometimes because I definitely push him as a coach. I think I make him think a lot. I tend to question. Not every player is smart enough necessarily to question, why is the scheme like this? Why aren't we doing it this way? And so in the moment, sometimes he may get upset that I'm questioning him, but we always come back and circle back, and we're able to sit down and talk about, okay, how can we maximize the O-line room in here, because I think sometimes I can bring a little bit different of a mindset of, well, this is what the players are feeling because I am a player, and this is how we see the scheme, this is how we struggle with the scheme, and so I think it's been a good balance of me pushing him and him pushing me. Obviously he pushes me all the time. I mean, even when my brother's here, my brother pushes me. So I think having all three of us here together and all three of us knowing so much football, we're all able to push each other. I still, to this day, even with my brother at Boise, send him clips of me doing this, like, hey, what do you think? Like, should I do this different? And my dad, hey, maybe do this different. And it's been a lot of finding different ways for me, being a little bit smaller of a guy. I can't just necessarily maul a guy like some of these guys. It's a lot about being more nifty and finding different ways to get by as a smaller guy that's doesn't weigh as much, but is smart and can see the field a little different, and see, the safety, when the safeties rotate. My brother and I always say, if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck. So when you see those safeties, defensive guys, they can't help themselves. When you see them start leaning forward and they're here they come, and being able to see that and learning that from my dad from such a young age has just given me that extra half second that helps me get by. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's instinctual for you now, yeah. So, look, the season hasn't started the way you guys wanted, but you still have 6 games to go in the regular season, and if things go the way, it can still get to some of the goals and things you guys are targeting. As you guys are in this kind of transition spot of, midpoint of the season going to the back half of the season, what do you think this group can still do?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much talent, and we have so much going on, so many good things going on. It's really about just, like, getting all 3 phases working together. There's been a lot of the defense doing good and the offense struggling, and then we switch, and so really just fine tuning the details of getting all of us to work together. Our word of the year has been us. That was actually a word that I created in our senior meeting, but it's really all about us. So, when we prepare each week, it's how can we get better? Yeah. How can we, like I said earlier, every event holds value. So, okay, last week we get the fake punt, and then we come out and we don't fire on the next drive. Okay, well, now this week it's about us getting better. How can we get better if we have a sudden change of a fake punt? Okay, now we get another opportunity, and now we got to maximize that opportunity. So we'll continue to get better with all that. But that's the stuff that, it is all about us. It is all about just getting better. But we do have a lot of good things going on. We have players playing really well. There's just, we gotta get rid of that. We're trying to get rid of the stuff where it's one guy each play that's making a mistake, and we got to get all together, all 11, because everyone can do their job. But if for myself, if I don't slide the right way and the quarterback gets pressure, but everybody else does it right, the play still doesn't work. So it really is where it is a team game, and we have sometimes been struggling with that one guy at a time. Now it's his turn to make a mistake. Now it's his turn to make a mistake, and we gotta get rid of that to where we're all firing, all 11 guys, and get back on track. Yeah. So yeah.
And it feels like it's testing you guys just in the spirit of competition. You guys have had so much success, and there's been some stumbles here. And kind of as one of the senior leaders, do you feel like it's on you a little bit to keep the guys together, to try to find the good? Because you're close, but also it's not converting into wins yet. So it's like you could teeter the other way, obviously. So does it feel like you're trying to balance that, like, hey, let's keep going forward?
Yeah, it's frustration has been the word that's been going around a lot lately. But with frustration, a pinch of it can wake you up, but too much of it can dull your senses. So you got to be able to channel the frustration to get better. But we also can't have too much of it where we're going crazy and we're calling out guys and blaming and complaining and blaming is not the answer. It never is the answer. So yeah, as leaders, we get together every Sunday as seniors and talk about how can we get the team better? How can we practice better this week? How can we fix things to be better? Coach Thompson's been doing a good job of listening to us as seniors, giving us an opportunity to speak. Again, as players, how can we do better? How can the coaches do better? How can the support staff better provide resources for us? So, it's a back and forth between us and Coach Thompson. But it is frustrating. A lot of us, me, Brandon Knott, Gavin Davis-Smith, we've been here for multiple years, and this isn't the standard that we're used to. So we're trying to get back to the fundamentals of getting back to the standard that we've set for over these past couple of years and get back to that. But it is, again, frustration is the word. But we're not too far past. The season is still here. We still have 6 games to go win. And it starts this week versus Weber State. And it's not about looking at 6 games. It's about looking at this week. Looking at got a homecoming game, big game. Got to have a lot of people coming back. It's about time we get a win and get Sacramento back feeling good about us.
Well, it's been a pleasure to get to know you, to watch you play, your whole family, and I have no doubt that you're going to reach your goals after your playing career. Best of luck the rest of the season, and thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, my thanks to Kaden Richardson for joining us on this week's podcast. Also, to all of you that listen on a regular basis, but I got a lot of feedback after last week's podcast with former Hornet Troy Stiefel and his efforts in helping save a life with his bone marrow transplant and his journey that he's helping out those in need. Emmanuel Lopez also joined us from the National Bone Marrow Program, and then I told my son's story, and I just got a lot of positive feedback. So that means a lot to me, and I appreciate all of you out there listening that take the time to do this each and every week, or if you do it periodically. I do truly appreciate it. Let everyone else know we're out there. It's a fun podcast each and every week. It's obviously more fun when the Hornets win. Hopefully that'll happen on Saturday, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see you out there. If you get a chance to go to the game, listen to the game, watch the game, just support your Hornets for homecoming week this week. That'll do it for us on another edition of the Stingers Up Sacramento State Football Podcast. Stingers Up.